Hey, what's up guys? My name is Michael, and in today's video I wanted to talk a little bit about a couple of different things. I wanted to talk a little bit about hobby accountability because my friend Mousebait recently replied to a comment on a previous video of mine and said that she was thinking that an accountability vlog would be a pretty good idea to kind of keep each other accountable for the miniatures that we're finishing and working on, and all the various projects that we are doing. I know that I'm not the only one who's guilty of working on a ton of different projects all at the same time, which a lot of the time results in none of them ever getting finished, which is not great. So in today's video, I'm gonna take a look at some of the projects that I have started, have never finished, could possibly move back on and go ahead and get finished. I'm going to discuss a couple of other things as well. I'll go ahead and show that clip in just a second of what is on my hobby desk right now. Basically what I'm working on is, well, what I'm potentially working on. My pile of potential right now consists of 3 different Space Marine dreadnoughts. I have a regular box dreadnought, the old classic Space Marine dreadnought. I have a Contemptor dreadnought that's mostly finished and needs just a couple more steps. I also need to find his head, which is a topic of bits organization and storage that I might cover at some point as well, because I think that's probably also an important topic. And I have a Leviathan dreadnought that needs some finishing and is probably a little bit less than halfway done. There's still a lot of work to be finished on him, but I'm pretty excited about it. I got him for Christmas a couple of years ago, and I really would like to get him finished so that I can actually field him in games. In addition to those dreadnoughts, I have multiple characters that I'm working on, including an old Space Marine Chief Librarian is what his little, the tab under his feet said. So I'm excited to get him finished and have him counts as Psyker in my Alpha Legion army. I have an Alpha Legion Terminator Praetor miniature that is close to getting done. He needs a lot of details, and his cape needs to be airbrushed and finished so that I can attach that. And I also have, in the projects that are actively being worked on stage, I have a Warmonger console that I'm pretty excited about. I've been using this character type in a lot of my recent games pre-pandemic, and I really like him as both a way to deep strike a utility unit onto the field. Usually I end up deep striking a plasma gun support squad because you can't charge after deep striking, and so it wouldn't make any sense to deep strike some sort of melee squad or anything onto the battlefield. So he comes in super handy for that. He's also a very strong melee character on his own right, coming with, I believe it's an Iron Halo, and a couple of other really strong abilities just right out of the gate, which makes him great for tackling a lot of problematic enemy squads. I have mine armed with a power sword and a plasma pistol. Plasma, again, is strength 7 in Horus Heresy, so it has the potential to damage even predators if you're shooting at the side or the rear armor on those. And I think that's a pretty nasty surprise. The same thing with the rest of the plasma gun support squad that I usually end up deep striking. They're very handy for taking out medium tanks when your opponent is least expecting it. And obviously Strength 7 AP2 will also kill Space Marines. It will hurt Terminators. And so basically it's an all-around great unit. It's very expensive, especially with the Warmonger attached, but it's really cool and I like it a lot. So I'm looking forward to finishing him. What I'm going to be doing today, I think, is working on a couple of tall bases for my characters. I am taking a little bit of inspiration from Omegon Edge on Instagram. I will try to put one of his posts in here somewhere so you can take a look at what he does with his characters. He does some really great basing, which I think makes a character stand out a lot, and is pretty important to making your miniatures look better. I'm not a fan of the recent trend that Games Workshop has had of just basing everything in one of their basing texture paints, and it all looks very flat and really boring, actually. Inevitably, these are usually stuck with maybe a single grass tuft, but the rest of the base is completely flat. There's no visual interest there whatsoever, and so I wanted to get a little bit more exciting with my basing, especially since the Warmonger is supposed to be fairly imposing, in-game at least, and so I wanted to give him a little bit of extra height on his base to make him stand out and look more imposing on the battlefield, and make him stand out from the rest of the army just a little bit. So we'll go ahead and do that. I might do a video on that basing because I really enjoy doing cool basing for my armies. So that's kind of my accountability thing today. I also wanted to briefly mention that I did finish a squad of 5 close combat tactical Marines for my Alpha Legion. You saw that panning shot at the beginning of this video. And these are old 3rd edition plastics that I got from a friend a couple of years ago. I also have a ton of these that I'm building up as a regular tactical squad. And previously I was under the assumption that all of these were Mark 6 power armor, which apparently is incorrect. Apparently this is a mix of everything from Mark 6 all the way up to Mark 8, which technically makes it not Horus Hera era appropriate, and that is a big mouthful. I know a lot of diehard people tend to, on the internet at least, tend to be pretty diehard about the historical accuracy of Horus Heresy. And so a lot of the time you will find nitpickers kind of putting down your hobby projects because it might not have the right mark of power armor. It might not be the appropriate miniature for Horus Heresy. And to that, I kind of wanted to take a couple minutes and say that if you're worried this much about accuracy in a game of toy soldiers, maybe you shouldn't be playing a game about toy soldiers. Just saying. I'm as much of a fan of the Horus Heresy as anybody else. I do think that the historical accuracy is pretty important. And when you do have 2 fully painted armies, battling it out on a thematic gaming table, I think that adds everything to the experience. I think it's so much nicer to play with painted armies and against painted armies, especially if they're painted well. But Warhammer 30,000 is also a niche within a niche in a fairly nerdy hobby. So if somebody wants to play against my Alpha Legion with Primaris Marines that they're using as counts as tactical Marines, I'm never going to say no to something like that, just because new players are invaluable to growing a gaming community. So I don't agree with that type of nitpicking, I guess. Conversions are totally fine in my opinion. I think that, I think it doesn't matter that much. It matters a lot, obviously, but at the same time, it doesn't. If that even makes a little tiny bit of sense whatsoever. If you were playing at some kind of event that builds itself as a Horus Heresy event, I could totally see the tournament organizers not allowing non-historical, because again, it's future historical sci-fi, basically. I could see the tournament organizers not allowing my squads of 3rd edition Plastic Marines because they're not era appropriate, which is understandable. But in a more casual gaming setting, go for it. Why not? Does it look cool? Yeah, I think they look really cool. Is anybody who's not a diehard Horus Heresy fan going to be able to tell that these Space Marines aren't quite the right Space Marines? Probably not. They're just going to look at the table and see a couple of beautifully painted armies, and they're going to go, oh, cool, what do these guys do? Or, hey, I love the way you painted that blue on those guys. And so I think that is more important than that historical accuracy a lot of the time. So I just wanted to go ahead and put that note out there. And yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying the hobby. Let me know what you are working on, what you're looking forward to working on now that winter is coming and we have more cold months coming. I think it's the perfect time for indoor hobbies. So go ahead and leave a comment, like, subscribe. Please let me know if you have any issues with my video, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take it easy. Bye.